So I was working with a teacher this morning at a school and who recently had, I believe, 12 Chromebooks influx into her classroom based on the System ML 51 Chromebook trial that we offered from Student Services. And so this morning, with keeping with her regular programming, they were doing daily 5 language review. And when I was working with her, we were trying to figure out, well, how are the kids who have these Chromebooks now and need these accommodations going to access the daily 5 language content? And so, like I've told many of you in the past, there's a number of ways that you can convert paper to digital. But I'm going to sort of give you a tutorial on the reality of going digital and some of the ups and downs and ins and outs of it, and see kind of what you think about that and if this might be the right way for you to do it. So the first thing that I talked about with her was that, well, do you have a copy of the book? Like, do you own a copy of the book? Because that's important. And because that could take us to the actual photocopier, right? We could be scanning the sheets into PDF and then sharing them out with the students. Now, she didn't have a copy of the book exactly. She had photocopied sheets of the book. So we could have done the same thing. We could have taken the sheets to the photocopier and used the OCR feature on the photocopier to scan them. But I wanted to check first and see if we could find an electronic copy of the book already scanned and OCR'd for us to start working with. So I went over to Google and I typed in daily language review. And then what I did under the under the settings, is I did an advanced search where I was looking for very specifically a PDF type of file. So you can see here that it looks like I may have a grade 4, which is the one I'm looking for, copy of the book. So I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to give it a quick scroll through. It looks like it is the whole book. There's 142 pages. Now, she was specifically looking at week 16 as the next week that she was looking at doing. So I'm going to go see if it matches up with the paper copy I have in front of me. Okay, so week 16, Monday, give the plural form of the following nouns. Yeah, so it's the exact same. Now, one of the things that I want to check right away before I go any further with this is, can I select the text? Because if I can select the text, then the chances are good that the read and write toolbar play button will work. Now, I do have two options here. I can go ahead with the PDF version, and I can give students access to that, and they can use the PDF toolbar assistive tools. Or I could look at, well, how do I get this information into a Google Doc? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead with the PDF version, and then I'm going to show you how I would go ahead with the Google Doc after that. So if I found this on the internet and I want to sort of make it more accessible to my students for sharing purposes, I'm going to need to download a copy of it and then put it into my drive. So I'm going to go ahead and click the download button. And I'm going to, just for now, throw it on my desktop. This also gives me a chance to rename it. And I'm going to save it. So once it's done, I can head over to my drive and I can upload. You know what? First, I'll create a folder. Daily 5 language. And inside of there, that's where I'm going to go new, and I'm going to upload that file from my desktop. There it is there. So because this video is sort of the reality and the romance, I guess, maybe of going digital, I'm going to give you another strategy that I use a lot, which is that this PDF is going to be a lot of pages. So it's 142 pages. Well, that's too much information for a lot of reasons. But I can break that up and sort of chunk it out into different pieces by using a pretty easy tool from the print menu. So now that I have it up there, I want to just get week 16 just into one single PDF. So I'm going to say print. And when I get my print menu, typically you'll be on a printer. So you're going to want to change that to save as PDF. Now, this is where you get to choose the page range. So that's something I should have done right before I click the print menu. So I'm going to go back and do that. I'm going to go down and find week 16 because it may not be the exact same in the document as it is in the paper version. Oops. We go week 16. So it looks like I want on my electronic version of the document, I want page 54 and I want to go down to page 56. So now I'm ready to hit print. Save as PDF, and I want 54 to 56. So it gives me a preview here. You can see I'm starting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. So now when I press save, it's going to ask me where do I want to save it. So I'll throw it on my desktop. So I'll call this Daily 5 Language Review. 16. Save. Again, I can go back into my Google Drive, into my Daily 5 Language Review, and I can file upload, week 16. So just like that, I have sort of taken out one particular section of that book, which is going to make it a lot more manageable to post that to Google Classroom and have kids work on it, because they are only going to have to go per week to one file that's only a few pages big, as opposed to opening up a 142-page PDF every time. So now, in theory, I have an accessible, because I can select the text, version of the Daily 5 for my students to use the PDF toolbar assistive tools. Now, in order for them to actually get at the assistive tools, they're going to need to either have it linked in Google Classroom or shared with them in a Google Drive folder. And when they open the file, they're going to need to do this open with and choose read and write for Google Chrome. Now, this is also why it makes sense to break that PDF down, because opening a 142-page PDF versus a 2-page PDF takes a lot less time for the read and write extension. So here we are. Now, remember, this is the reality of going digital. I don't know 100% that this is going to work yet for my toolbar. I'm hoping it does because I'm able to select the text, but as I've seen with PDFs in the past, different spacing and fonts and things like that can sometimes mess up the play button's ability to like just a normal English sort of fashion. So this is where I'm able to now test it. So I'm going to use my click to speak feature, and I'm going to click on, say, the first sentence. The plural form of the following nouns. Okay, awesome. So that works great. So let's try and be the student, and we'll go to the next word. So give the plural form of the following nouns, and FO ought. That's an issue. Let's see, do we have more than one issue? Sit why. Okay, so here's why I'm shooting this video, because everything may seem like it's going to work perfectly. You have found the PDF version, it's already scanned with OCR, it should be able to be read by the play button. Some sentences like this one, of the following nouns, works perfectly. So let's say you're committed to it now, you post it on your Google Classroom, and your student puts their hand up and they're like, what is going on here? They have no idea what's going on, and as a result, they're going to be disengaged from learning and not able to fully complete the assignment, because ultimately it's not reading like it should be in normal English. So that's an issue. Now, I will always say this from day one, whenever somebody asks me what is the most efficient and foolproof way to go digital, and I will tell you 100% that it is always to start a new Google Doc and to either use speech to text to retype the information, or to physically with your keyboard retype the information. So I'm going to pivot now in this video to making this discovery, and then, okay, I need to now shift to a different strategy. Now, my hope is that you will get quite savvy at understanding this and maybe be able to make this pivot before you've done a little bit of this work. But I'm going to show you some more steps so that you can sort of curate and call them to meet your needs. So I like the fact that I've already made my Daily 5 Language Review folder. I've got some things organized in there, but in here now, because I'm shifting strategies, I'm going to go with a new Google Doc. I'm going to call it Daily 5 Language Review Week 16, because I've already kind of made that decision that I'm going to go ahead and use that strategy. Need to type you. Too many things going on here. Okay. So one thing you might try is to, because you do have the digital version of the book, you might want to just say, well, I don't want to retype all this. So even if it's just Monday, I'm going to copy that text and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste it. That's not going to get the job done either. And it's interesting too, you can see kind of why the play button is messing up with those two words, because the actual way that it's being recognized is that there's these extra spaces. Even though in the visual version of the electronic book, it does not look like there's any spaces. The copied and pasted text version of it is clearly showing there's some issues. But also, the way this pasted, I'm just going to spend more time than necessary just making it look back like this than it would take for me to simply retype it. I will try one more trick though. I'll get rid of this. And instead of just normal right-click paste or Control V, I'm going to right-click and I'm going to ask it to paste it without any formatting and see what happens. So nothing changed there, but I do recommend that trick if you're finding that it's pasting a little bit weird. Sometimes the PDF, the sort of the language that it's been written in, has some extra formatting issues that maybe Google Docs wouldn't understand, and so it just tries its best to paste it for you. But the right-click paste without formatting sometimes clears that up. In this case, it didn't. So I'm going to abandon the copy-paste strategy, and I'm going to take a look at, okay, well, I'm a teacher, I'm on my prep, and/or I'm working to try to accommodate these students. I've got to make a decision here. What's the quickest way for me to do this? Now, what we ended up doing in the class this morning was we opened a blank Google Doc, and the teacher and I co-modeled using speech to text to rewrite the document in combination with some typing, but right in front of the students, all of the students, live, what would this look like? Because it gave us an opportunity to model using speech to text, as well as creating on the spot a digital version of our Daily 5 that we could then post and know that it would 100% work with our kids' assistive tools. So for example, on the Monday, I'm looking at the paper copy in front of me. It says, give the plural form of the following nouns, period. So I modeled to them that I would think about what I wanted to say. It's already on the paper for me. I'm going to practice what I want to say, give the plural form of the following nouns, period, and then I'm going to practice recording. Give the plural form of the following nouns, period. And then I would simply head down to start writing them in. So the first one is foot. Now I could also use speech to text to write that. Foot. And then number 2, city. City. Awesome. Now the kids need a place to write the plural form. There's 2 things I could do there. I could either sort of give them the colon to indicate that maybe you're going to write on the right side of this word, or what I like to do mostly is insert 1 cell tables just underneath the expectation of where I'm sort of wanting them to do some thinking or some expression there. So there we go. Give the plural form of the following nouns. Now, does this look exactly like the paper copy? Of course not. It doesn't have the same font. It doesn't have some fancy graphics around the word Monday, yada, yada, yada. But the bottom line is I don't have to worry about this happening to any of my students, because if I type it, I guarantee you it'll read it properly. That's a whole different ballgame for a kid who is either learning technology and/or gets frustrated when things don't work out for them. This is, I know, going to work 100%. So then I just continue to model some typing and some good practices around typing. Certainly not typing on video as fast as I can to try to speed this video up, but again, speech to text. Our teacher, she letted Sue and I get on the computer for 30 minutes. So I just have to fix it to make it look exactly like she letted. This is because it's actually an incorrect sentence. This is probably something that I would have maybe just typed as the teacher, because speech to text is probably going to do a better job than I wanted to, because I actually want the sentence to be incorrect so that they can correct it. Get on the computer for 30 minutes. See, it wanted me to write minutes, but I didn't want to. So now I'm going to do number 4. For and number 5, where following. And if I want a response there, I'm going to put in a table. Okay, so there, I've got Monday. Now, certainly I can know that this is Monday. I just bold that quickly, get a bit bigger. So now what I have done is, not only have I organized for myself in my Google Drive with a Daily 5 language review, I've accessed the electronic copy, which is always good to have if you've purchased a copy of the book, that you have an electronic copy of it as well. I've broken out the PDF and do week 16. I tried that strategy, but I've also now just created a Google Doc for Daily 5 language review week 16, which I would then either continue on my prep, just doing Monday to Friday, which obviously you can see didn't take very long. And once you get sort of quick at it, you'll just blast through it. Or like we did this morning for Monday, for example, we specifically took the time to model the use of the tools to the whole class in recreating the Monday version of the Daily 5 for this week in a Google Doc. Because now that I have it, I would be able to head over to Google Classroom. And in my classroom, I would be able to create an assignment, and I would be calling it Daily Language Review Week 16. I'd be adding a topic. In this case, I'd be creating a topic because I want all of my daily language stuff to be organized on the left-hand side for the kids. And I would go to Google Drive, because that is where my week 16 Google Doc will be under recent here. So I'm going to attach it. And of course, the fail-safe way to do this is to always make sure that you remember to make a copy for each student and assign it. So I've got a title. I've got a really nicely laid out Google Doc that looks very, very similar to the paper version. I've made a topic so it organizes under my Google Classroom, and I've made a copy for each student, which is going to help me look at their work and keep track of it, as well as make it easier for them, because there's no sharing back and forth. So I'm not going to go ahead and post that, but that is sort of the reality in this particular case of going digital, sort of 101, where you have a paper, photocopied, hard copy book, and you now have an influx of Chromebooks in your classroom, and you're wondering, well, as a teacher, okay, this would be a great opportunity for them to actually be using the Chromebook and the assistive tools, because this is not leveled content necessarily for them. This is content that they might need a verbatim reading or verbatim scribe to sort of help them get through this. And that is where the Chromebook can be a benefit, because if you provide it to them digitally, this should increase their independence to access the content, as well as their overall achievement. They should be able to use the tools to complete these tasks. What they need from the teachers is they need the accessible foolproof versions, which I'm going to always recommend is typically in a Google Doc, because the play button will never misinterpret a typed word like the PDF did, as well as it gives them access to the same toolbar that our 3-6 kids are going to use on AQAO, and it gives them access to all the other learning tools that are embedded in the Read and Write toolbar. So that is a video that I've been wanting to shoot, because I know I get a lot of times I get a question about, so I have this, how do I go this way? I have the PDF, is that good enough? Can I use the PDF toolbar? Should I use the PDF toolbar? How do I get in the Google Doc, et cetera, et cetera? So this is kind of what I would say the reality of going digital can look like. And I hope that this video helps you in your workflow. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, and we can see kind of what works for you and come up with an efficient strategy for you. So thanks.